Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome in to the 2-minute drill. We're going to get through a lot of stuff in about 30 minutes because we got two big-time games tonight. We've got the Bucks and the Lions kicking off at 7, and then we've got the Texans and the Seahawks kicking off at 10 p.m. Late start. Hey, late start for the Texans and for the Seahawks. All right. Let's get to the situation du jour here in Miami, because I wasn't on the show today. I wasn't on Le Batard show proper. I did do my top 5 today, and as you guys probably heard, if you haven't heard, go back and listen. I made a lot of remarks, mostly number 2 related, at the hierarchy of the Miami Dolphins, whether that be Stephen Ross, Chris Grier, Mike McDaniel, Tua, kind of the four horsemen. Miami is probably in the worst place they've been since 2000. I don't think that a fan base could be in a worse spot than what Miami is right now, right? There has been teams across the league that have been perennial losers. There have been teams that have never made it to the Super Bowl. There's never been teams that have never won a Super Bowl, that have had massive playoff droughts and just organizational dysfunction. But when it comes to Miami, now a new owner falling into the same traps of other owners in the NFL that kind of don't really know what they're doing. And it's hard to say that when the person who is at the head of the table and owns the team has been so successful in business ventures outside of football. It's hard to call them a moron or an idiot, but when you look at the product that has been placed on the field and the devolving of what this team has been for the last 3 years, something needs to change. And you can go back through the last 25 years of fandom for the Miami Dolphins. Not that I am a fan of the Miami Dolphins. I'm not a man of the Shield, as you guys know that. So my heart cannot get broken by things that happen. But when you talk about the playoff losses, when you talk about Nick Saban leaving, when you talk about Marino's injury, when you talk about Culpepper over Drew Brees, when you talk about all the things that have happened to this franchise, this has to be the worst. You lose 31-6 to Cleveland in a game that you kind of need. Okay, it's not that you're going to the playoffs. Hell, try to go 500 this year is going to be a very tall task. But you got to go in. If you're McDaniel, if you're Chris Grier, if you're Tua, you guys got to get on the same page and lock in and be like, okay, we need this one. We really desperately need this one. We cannot go to Cleveland, to a team that's 1-5, who traded away their starting quarterback to an in-division rival who now looks really good over there. And they've got a quarterback in Dylan Gabriel who they don't really know what they have. They're just kind of throwing him out there. The circus that is Cleveland, from all the different aspects of that, why that franchise is a circus, and they go out and absolutely destroy, blow the doors off of the Miami Dolphins. Blow the door 31-6, and it's not even that close. It should have been more. Quinshon Judkins looks like Barry Sanders. Nobody can stop anybody. This is one of the most embarrassing performances that I have ever seen on a football field. Tua Tagovailoa had the worst game that I've ever seen him have. There is no hope. I can't sit here and tell you, guys, there's hope. Don't worry. Hope is on the horizon. I see the future, right? I see what it is. Mike McDaniel can turn this thing around. Chris Grier can get a number 1 pick and turn it into something. No, it's over. It's over. I sent it out in the first half on my Twitter at 10Day Tony, where some of you are watching here. At halftime, I said, clean house. It's over. At halftime. And I want to say that the score was 14-6, if that. I looked and I said, oh my God, this is the biggest debacle in pro sports right now. In professional football, there is nothing worse than what the Miami Dolphins are going through right now. 2 years ago, they scored 70 points in a game. 70 in the NFL against a Broncos team that actually, if you fast forward, if I would have told you in 2022-23, when the Dolphins beat the Broncos 70-14 or whatever the score was, 70-21, I don't even remember what the score is. If I told you in 2 years' time, you're actually going to want to be the Broncos because the Broncos are going to be 5-2, the Dolphins are going to be 1-6. The more exciting quarterback is going to be in Denver. The better defense is in Denver. You would have laughed me off every single microphone. But of course, that's the hindsight or foresight. But you look at what's going on and you're thinking to yourself, how in the hell can the Dolphins recover? Carlos brings up a good point. Who do you keep? A-Chain? Devon A-Chain, you keep him? There's nobody else, right? Waddle, go send him for a pick. Waller's been okay. You know, obviously messed up his pec. He'll be week to week, but that's not a guy you keep long-term anyway. You ship everybody out. There's nobody on the defensive side that you look at and say, okay, maybe Jalen Phillips, you keep him. What's left of the defensive line? Sealer, obviously, you have locked up for a little while. Bradley Chubb, I guess. Linebackers, just nothing. Secondary, outside of Minka, who's already older too. There's nobody there. There's nobody there. It's just over. It's just completely over. There's no hope. I'm very surprised that they did not completely clean house after that loss yesterday. What's there to hold on to? Get Anthony Weaver in, see if he can rally the troops a little bit. It just feels like from what's happening with Mike McDaniel, Chris Grier hasn't said a word. The guy might be doing mimes are back in the 20, Chris Grier hasn't said a word. Mike McDaniel, every time he gets to a microphone, I don't want to hear him because it sounds like it is over. Tua get him even further away from the microphone than Mike McDaniel, right? It's getting from bad to worse every single time one of them opens their mouth. It's insane. It's insane. Like, that is not what a coach should be. A CEO of a organization like the coach is. You cannot have that person speak the way Mike McDaniel does in these like weird, cryptic, half fragment sentences with a lot of ums and uhs, and it's cooked. It's over. It's over. There's nothing that you can do, nothing that he can say to get him out of the situation. And Tua, I was looking over at some of the Tua stuff and Tua money, $57 million next year. $57 million you're on the hook for Tua. And it goes down, it's descending contract. And then the year after that, it's 40-something or 30-something. And the year after that's the same thing. There is nothing right now that the Miami Dolphins can do to make this better. Nothing. They need to bottom out, start selling players for picks. I guess if Stephen Ross doesn't want to make a change, I guess you let Mike McDaniel coach to a 1-16 record. That was supposed to be the easy part of the schedule. The Jets, the Panthers, the Browns. That was the easy part. The easy part of the schedule. Let's take a look really quick and see what they got going forward. Because I remember last time I checked, I was like, this is a steep situation for the Miami Dolphins. Falcons this Sunday. Ravens, possibly with Lamar, possibly not. By the way, go out to the watch party. Kendall, Flanny's, Kendall and 127th. We're doing a Halloween watch party over with the Levitard show on Thursday for the Dolphins-Ravens game. Go check that out. Bills, Commanders, Saints, Jets, Steelers, Dolphins, Steelers, Bengals, Bucks, Pats. 3-14? 3-14? Like, it's over. It's over. It's over. Like there is nothing that you can look at and say that hope is on the horizon. And it's just crazy to think that that's where we are in the situation. Insane. So wanted to get that off the chest because, again, not that I'm a Miami fan, but I live in Miami and this is the home team, and people were, let me asterisk, were excited for this team. But after Tyreek got hurt, and you kind of realize really quickly Tua is not the guy when you look across the division, and Drake Maye is playing like one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. Miami has not been able to get a quarterback. Dan said on the show today, Miami has not had a quarterback since Marino. There are people, my brother is 25 years old. He was born in 2000, and he has not seen a good quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. Tua had a year. God, Sage Rosenfeld had a year or less, maybe, because they brought him off the bench, but still. Right? Like Cleo Lemon had a year. Jay Fiedler went to the playoffs. And Tua cannot play in wet. He cannot play in snow. He can barely play in the heat. In the wind, he can't throw. I like watching back some of the Tua interceptions and fumbles and throws that even he made where he didn't have the pressure. It was terrible. Terrible. And you look across the league at such good quarterback play that's happening right now. And you're asking yourself, Justin Fields clearly the worst quarterback in the NFL. Is Tua like the second worst? Is Tua a bottom 5 QB at the moment? Like, if I tell you, Chad, Carson Wentz or Tua right now, are you taking Carson Wentz? Does have multiple 300-yard passing games? Gino, Josh brings up a good point. Gino is close to Battlefield. Gino's been really bad. Outside of the first game, he's been really bad. But like, Dylan Gabriel, I guess you take Tua over Dylan Gabriel, even though Tua looked terrible yesterday. Like, he's a bottom 5 QB in the league right now. Insane to think of. All right, that's the end of my Dolphins soapbox. We got 15 minutes to grind it out. We got a massive game, Bucks versus Lions in the NFC. We'll do a little bit of that later on. Some of my big things. Here's the 2-minute warning. Chiefs get Rashee Rice back. They look incredible. Chiefs feel like they got their wake-up call, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, yeah, that's right. We're still one of the best teams in the league. And Patrick Mahomes is starting to get his MVP mystique back. I think he might be leading the league right now as far as odds on the MVP. But when you have somebody as dynamic as Rashee Rice, who's able to work in that power slot position in a way that they didn't really have, Juju Smith-Schuster, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, all these different guys are not able to do what Rashee Rice does, right? His ability to cut on a dime, to somehow always be open, man zone, doesn't really matter. He's a man beater. He's a zone beater. He opens up things on the other side of the field for Travis Kelce. Like, this is the piece. If you tell me the Chiefs miss Tyreek Hill, sure, yeah, okay. A healthy Tyreek Hill from 5 years ago, yeah, that's obviously a big plus. But if you tell me Rashee Rice is a little bit more impactful across the field, it's like, I have a hard time. Tyreek was such a good vertical threat, but Rashee Rice is such a good horizontal threat that opens up that vertical passing game that he's a very special player, and he's really fun to watch. So, he did what he did, and that sucks, and should pay the fine or penalty or do whatever needs to be done for that case. But when he's between the lines, he's one of the most dynamic players in the NFL. Really, really cool to see. But the Chiefs blank the Raiders. The Raiders didn't even look like they wanted to play. I saw a stat that Geno Smith didn't complete a pass from the first quarter, late in the first quarter, to basically late in the third quarter, he did not complete a pass. So yeah, Geno is playing terrible. Terrible. Eagles, I said this on my top 5 today. Eagles are going to be fine. I think they're going to be all right. If you can get something's up with Saquon. Let's put a pin in that. Something's up with Saquon. They gave him nearly 500 touches last year. That stuff's going to catch up with you, especially when you're an older back, especially when you're a guy who takes as many hits as he does. It's going to be tough. That being said, the Eagles need to be able to open up their offense and play the way they did. Jalen Hurts was dynamite. Jalen Hurts was unreal. And he has that in him. That's the point that's weird to me with this Eagles offense is they rely so much on running the ball, quick short passes. The moment they start like letting it rip, they're one of the best offenses in football. Great number one in A.J. Brown. A guy who's 1B in Devontae Smith. Dallas Goedert, who's one of the best tight ends in football. Jalen Hurts has proved time and time again that he can play quarterback at a super high top 5 level. It's like when everybody says, well, what a team does really well on the 2-minute drill. And it's like, well, why don't they just play 2-minute offense all the time? It's like, well, because it's not that easy. And I get it. The way that they want to play football is run the ball, control the line of scrimmage, eat up clock, play good defense. I get that. They want to play complementary football. They have the arsenal to go out and play the game that they just played or the games that they played against the Rams. I think it was week 2 or 3 when they were down 26-7 and then all of a sudden mounted this furious comeback. The Eagles have it. Now it's just a matter of getting their guys healthy and continuing to play in a division that just got a little bit tougher. I know Jaden Daniels got hurt yesterday. We'll talk about that. Cowboys aren't dead, right? Cowboys look to be a live dog at some point because the Kami team is tough. And Dak Prescott's playing really good. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, like this is an offense that was Javonte Williams playing well. Like this offense is ready to roll. Their defense is terrible, and it's going to cost them. But this offense is ready to go and play against any team in the league, right? It's just how can Philly manage their bodies to make sure that when the time comes, they're able to stay healthy when it matters, right? Like that's the biggest part. Colts and Chargers. I said this on my top 5. It was number 2. I'm going to continue to beat the drum, but it feels to me like this Colts team is the most complete team in the NFL. And I know I just said that about the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Great offensive line, great defensive line, their defensive second, like everything works for the Eagles. But they get in these lulls where they kind of get bored with their own game and they don't execute. But you look at what the Colts have done to every team that they've played outside of the Rams who beat them. They dominate on both sides of the ball. Dominate. Daniel Jones has done everything that they've needed and surpassed it, right? Jonathan Taylor might be the offensive player of the year. Every time that guy steps on a field, he's got 2 touchdowns to his name. They're running the ball tough. They've got great weapons on the outside. Their offensive line is humming. Lou Anarumo's got the defense playing great. Like, they beat the Chargers, who we thought were decent, a little up and down the season. They thumped the Chargers 38-24, and it wasn't that close. It's like this team is a legit good team. They are one of the best. If I'm ranking, I'm probably putting the Colts at like hard pressed to put them under top 3. They're that good. They're that good. And yes, I love the adoration. I love the praise. I love being told I'm the best and I'm the smartest because I thought there was something to those Colts earlier on in the season, which is why I made the joke of Danny Dimes. Once he gets Anthony Richardson out of the way, can it go on an MVP run? Again, not all of us could have predicted that. I did, of course, which is why I told you at the beginning of the season. But they're surprising even me the way that they're playing defense, the way that they're playing complementary football with the run game. Like, I'm just so surprised by this Colts team, pleasantly, might I add. But this is a team that has the building blocks to be a legitimate contender in the AFC. That's a team that can go to Arrowhead and win. That's a team. You look across the AFC. They can go to Buffalo and win for sure. For sure. Look at the heads of all the other divisions, right? Can the Colts go to Pittsburgh and beat Pittsburgh? Yeah. Yes. Like, the answer is yes across the board. They can beat anybody that they line up against. And I'm very, very interested to see if Daniel Jones continue to keep playing the way that he's playing. Because, wow. All right, 8 minutes. We'll get you over to the game right after this. Broncos Giants. Giants were up. Jackson Dart is good. Okay, tough kid. Scatterboot. I like him. Like, if they had neighbors, that would be a very fun team. That would produce some big time upsets against teams that wouldn't take them seriously. And when you're up 19-0, you got to close the door on that one. Bo Nix scores 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns, en route to a 33-point fourth quarter for the Denver Broncos. Broncos now up to 5-2. I don't know what to say. Somehow, some way, we talk about teams that somehow, some way eke out a win, grab a win from the jaws of defeat. That's what the Broncos have been doing all season. It's been ugly. It hasn't been nice. Bo Nix has looked up and down. But when you look at the final score, you're like, oh, the Broncos won an ugly game again for the 6th time this year, or lost an ugly game for the 2nd time this year. It's a very, very, very good team. Defensively, again, tops in the league. If Bo Nix can play the way that he did to end the last season and play well like he has been in their wins, that's another team that could be very interesting come December and January. The NFL is a league of parity, and it feels like the parity is now dispersed enough where we don't really know who's going to come out. The last couple of years we've known, okay, Chiefs are going to be there, Bills are going to be there, and Ravens are going to be there, but kind of whatever. In the NFC, we know the 49ers are going to be there. We know the Eagles are going to be there. And it's kind of that. You look across the league now. The Bucs have a legit shot. The Lions have a shot. The Eagles have a shot. San Francisco hanging around. The Rams are tough as hell. The Seahawks might... we haven't even talked about the Seahawks. They play tonight against the Texans. The Seahawks are tough as hell. Right? It is absolutely wide open to everybody in the NFC. The same thing in the AFC. Chiefs are tough. Colts are tough. Steelers are interesting. Broncos are tough. Pats, low-key tough. Bills, tough. Right? Like, we are finally wide open. Ayo. But we are finally there where we can look across and say, we don't know. There is not one team where I'd say this team against the field. That team does not exist. I thought it was the Eagles early this season. They have flaws. They can be beaten. But damn. That's why we love this sport. That's why we love this game, right? We love meaningful football. Speaking of meaningful football, we got 2 games tonight. Bucs Lions. Could it be a NFC Championship preview that we watch tonight in Bucs Lions? Very interesting. I want to see Emeka Egbuka in, Mike Evans in. We're going to see what Baker can do with this full complement of receivers and weapons against a Lions team that definitely wants to get back to winning. This week has been very interesting from the NFL perspective. And obviously, if you missed a diatribe off the top for the Miami Dolphins, go back and watch on YouTube at 10 Day Tony. I give you zero hope. And I'm sorry, Dolphins fans. I'm sorry that you once had it. But it's better to be broke than rich than broke again. And that's where the Dolphins are right now. They had the money. They were broke. They had nothing. Hire McDaniel. You get Tyreek Hill. Tua's somewhat decent now. Okay, wait a second. You score 70 points. You got all the money in the world. And now 2 years later, boom, you're broke again. Head coach doesn't work. GM's a fool. He's got to go. Your quarterback that you invested $200 million in is also a fool on the microphone, doesn't know about leadership, can't throw a ball in the wind and the rain and the snow, and can't play in cold weather. And that's where you are now. Broke, then rich for a very finite amount of time, and then broke again. And now you're trying to figure out how you can get some sort of answer. So insane. But that's the 2-minute drill. We'll be back next week, week 8. We're basically halfway through the season, which is crazy. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Jesse, our Mike really missed a Sunday night with Juju. You know what? I'm gonna bring Juju back and see if we can recreate a little bit of the Tony and Juju magic on Sunday Night Live here with the boy. Shout out to Josh. Let's see. Let's get a couple more shout outs here in the chat. Digger, Iowa. Shout out to the boy. Oak, what up? Digilazo, the boy. Brokey Betters Club. Go check them out. They're doing incredible stuff over in the college football betting side. Brokey Betters Club. Check them out on Kick. Let's see. Shout out to Carlos Gilmore. Vinay, the boy. I promise you guys, we're gonna get back to our regularly scheduled programming with shows and stuff. It's life is a bit crazy. But we're gonna try and get it back going again. So check us out. I'm gonna put this show up on all the socials and all the channels. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Very important. Need more subscribers. Need more love. Check out Kick. Check out Twitter. Check out Twitch. Everywhere. Same username at 10DayTony. Check me out there. We'll be announcing something very big tomorrow. Something big. NBA season starts tomorrow. We also have a project over at Beyond Media that is going to be very fun for the NBA season. Check that out. Big news tomorrow. New show. New time. New place. Check it out tomorrow. Check my socials at 10DayTony.